Breaking now, CISA added CVE 2026-69836 to the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog today, August 21, 2026. The federal remediation deadline is August 24th, which gives agencies only 3 days to act. The affected product is Microsoft Entra ID, the identity platform many organizations use for sign-in, access control, and cloud identity management, so the stakes are direct. If identity is exposed, business systems, cloud apps, and sensitive data can all be in scope. CVE 2026-69836 is described by NVD as deserialization of untrusted data in Microsoft Entra ID. The key phrase is simple. Untrusted data is being processed in a way that can let an unauthorized attacker execute code over a network. The CVSS score is 10.0, the maximum critical rating. The vector says network access, low attack complexity, no privileges required, and no user interaction required. It also shows high impact to confidentiality, integrity, and availability. In plain English, this is not a local-only bug, and it is not a bug that depends on tricking the user into clicking something. CISA KEV membership is the reason this moves to the top of the queue. The KEV catalog is not a list of theoretical issues. It is CISA's list of vulnerabilities known to be exploited. That does not tell us every campaign, every victim, or every technique. It does tell defenders that waiting for normal patch cycles is the wrong posture. CISA's required action is to apply mitigations in accordance with vendor instructions, while meeting BOD 2604 risk-based security update guidance and CISA's forensics triage requirements. Known ransomware use is listed as unknown, not confirmed, and not ruled out. The named product is Microsoft Entra ID. Any organization that relies on Entra ID for identity, authentication, or access decisions should treat this as relevant until Microsoft guidance proves otherwise for their environment. Federal civilian agencies have a formal deadline of August 24th, but private sector teams should not read that as a grace period. Identity services sit upstream of many systems. If Entra ID is part of how users, admins, workloads, or applications receive access, then exposure can extend beyond one application. Start with tenants, integrations, privileged accounts, and services that depend on Entra ID trust. The danger here is not just that a server process could be affected. The danger is where the product sits. Entra ID is part of the identity control plane for many organizations. A critical network-reachable code execution flaw in that layer can create risk to account security, access decisions, application trust, and service availability. The CVSS vector shows high impact across confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That means defenders should consider data exposure, unauthorized changes, and disruption. We are not walking through exploit mechanics. The takeaway is defensive. Identity infrastructure deserves emergency handling when CISA says exploitation is known. To check exposure, start with the obvious question. Do you use Microsoft Entra ID anywhere in the organization? Include production tenants, test tenants, mergers and acquisitions environments, and cloud applications tied to Entra ID. Then compare your environment against Microsoft's vendor instructions for CVE 2026-69836. Look for any required mitigations, configuration changes, service updates, or tenant-level actions. Prioritize privileged identity packs first. Administrators, break glass accounts, service principals, automation identities, and applications with broad permissions. If you cannot quickly determine status, treat it as potentially exposed and escalate through your incident and change process. The action is direct. Apply mitigations in accordance with Microsoft vendor instructions. For federal agencies, the deadline is August 24, 2026. That date should be your urgency anchor even if you are outside government, because CISA added this today and the window is short. Do not rely on the EPSS probability alone. The listed EPSS is 0.014 at the 0.70 percentile, but KEV status overrides a wait-and-see interpretation. Track what you changed, who approved it, when it was completed, and which tenants or systems were covered. Also align with CISA's forensics triage requirements before overriding useful evidence. Detection should focus on the identity layer and on changes that would matter if trust was abused. Review Entra ID sign-in and audit data where available. Look for unusual administrative activity, unexpected changes to applications or permissions, new or modified credentials, abnormal service principal behavior, and access from locations or patterns that do not fit your baseline. Correlate identity events with cloud application logs and endpoint alerts. Because CISA specifically references forensics triage requirements, preserve logs and volatile evidence before cleanup where possible. If you find suspicious activity, move into incident response, not just patch management. Quick recap. CVE 2026-69836 affects Microsoft Entra ID and is described as deserialization of untrusted data that allows an unauthorized attacker to execute code over a network. CISA added it to the KEV catalog today, August 21st, with a federal remediation due date of August 24th. CVSS is a maximum 10.0. Known ransomware use is unknown, but known exploitation is enough to act now. Check whether you use Entra ID, follow Microsoft mitigation instructions, preserve evidence, and monitor identity activity. For daily ranked CVE briefings, subscribe to the Daily Ranked CVE Brief.